Well, welcome to this week's edition of Bolton In. Of course, all thanks to Palmerbet and gamble responsibly. That is the key message each and every week. But if you haven't downloaded that app at Palmerbet, make sure you do so because it is so simple to navigate and get around. There's plenty on offer. As I say, a very good evening to Greggy Ice Kelson. How are you, Ice?
Yeah, good, Matty. How are you?
Mate, fantastic. And,
weekend away for you?
Weekend away. I went up to the 3-day Swan Hill Racing Carnival, and it was magnificent up there, to say the least. The weather was cold, can I just say, but all in all, it was a really fantastic 3 days of racing, competitive racing. But I must admit, on the Saturday, I didn't have to work and just had a day on the punt and on the drink. And gee whiz, it was a tough day on the punt, wasn't it?
Well, I finished up getting something small, Matty. I just managed to work around, a couple of horses in Melbourne, and Ashford Street was fantastic for us, and managed to snag him into a couple of other runners throughout the day. So, yeah, Ashford Street has been a revelation, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely he has. That is for sure. Let's have a look back at Eagle Farm, though, Eyes. The 3 Group 1s, of course, last week. The Q22, of course. Numerian for Annabelle Neesham and Tommy Berry. Way too good. Really strong victory. And Annabelle Neesham, she just continues to tick boxes, doesn't she?
Yeah, and I guess, he had the form through the Gosford Cup, Matty, which was a terrific win, but then he had to come back onto a good track, and I guess that's where the doubters were in terms of why you got such a good price about Numerian, but of course, he was just way too good, mate. There weren't many excuses behind him. I thought Maximal, Wheater, they were both pretty average, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I was disappointed in Hugh Todd, to be honest. Just didn't fire a shot. Whether, I don't know, just too far back and just didn't get into the race at all, which a few horses probably did on the weekend.
Yeah, and were they end of prep runs? I don't know. We can say that a lot, but like I said, Marion went straight to the front and gave nothing else a chance. Just kept running.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic win. And well done to Annabelle Neesham. She's absolutely flying, which is awesome to see. Now, the JJ Atkins, she's a belter. Now, a good friend of mine rang me on Saturday morning and told me to launch into this horse because it's got a huge turn of foot. I didn't listen, Eyes. Seriously, it was super impressive. Well done to the Snowden team, and well done to Willie Pike. And this horse has got plenty of upside.
Yeah, and another Group 1 for Willie Pike. He also had his detractors when he took off to Sydney. They said, now he's up against the big boys, whatever. But that doesn't matter, does it? Willie Pike's very, very good. And so's the filly. Yeah, she's a belter. She's a ripper, Matty. She has got an explosive turn of foot. I thought there were good runs behind her. I thought Political Debate, he's just had a magic campaign. He was as honest as ever. Sharp and Smart was very good too. The one we both tipped came from a long way back. He perhaps got too far back there, and he again was pretty good. So I think they'll all be nice horses. But she's a belter. She might be really good because, as you said, she's got a ripping turn of foot, and the Snowdens have found another handy one for sure.
Yeah, they're good trainers, that is for sure, and they don't muck around. They just they keep the good horses and they keep them ticking along, and they just keep winning the big races. Hey, the Stradbroke, we said it was a cracking race, and this horse, Alligator Blood, and Gay Waterhouse, Group 1, number 150.
150. That's not many, is it?
That is unbelievable. And still got plenty more to come, I think, for mine. But this horse was huge first up, and we probably did we think it was just one out of the bag or something that day? It was very stiff to go down that day, beating the Pimple.
And Savage the Lion too that day.
Absolutely Savage the Lion. And then comes out and does exactly the same thing. Yeah. And seriously, that was a good field. And that was just a super impressive victory.
I know, and we know Alligator's been a very good horse, but I'm not quite sure what put us all off, Matty, to be honest. He's changed stables. His first up run for Gay was fantastic, and he only had to replicate that, and guess what he did? But barrier 17, still midfield at the 400, but just like he did in that previous run, he gobbled him up late, Matty, and the real Alligator Blood stood up, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you can make excuses like, I was 11-11 the whole way through in that Eyes, but to be honest, kind of, botched the start. Huey Bowman said the horse just played up a little bit before the start and never got its head back in the game. But, they're just excuses, to be honest. I think they just got beaten by a good horse. Private Eye was the other one that was probably, a touch unlucky in that. But I still don't think they were going to beat the winner. And
I guess if for those avid listeners, but we indicated Private Eye about 4 weeks ago might have been one of the ones to follow in futures market if you were having a bet, just given that he was going to be perfectly primed Stradbroke Day. I thought Rothfire, rather, after leading was pretty honest as well, but I don't think there are too many excuses behind. 11-11 obviously had problems, Matty, because it dropped right out as well. So I think, something obviously amiss there for sure. But again, after the first up run in the BRC Sprint, just beaten Alligator Bloods, just frank that form again.
Yeah, absolutely. And well done to the owner, Alan Andres. He cops a fair bit. He puts himself out there, but a really moving and a touching kind of story. And, his wife, Joy, passed away, of course.
Not long after. Terrible.
Absolutely shocking. And that horse has obviously been such a massive part of their life, hasn't it, Oz?
Sure. And obviously she was hanging on for that.
Yeah,
for that as well. Amazing. Which people can do, and it's a sad thing. But having said that, Alligator Blood, I'm sure it gave her a hell of a lot of pleasure as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Oz. Now listen, let's have a little bit of a talk now and have a bit of a chat. The fair dinkum stakes. Okay, this is where I want to get serious, and you want to bring something to the table. We're talking about 3-day carnivals, of course. We're lucky that at the Bulleyes, 3-day Mo Racing Carnival, I reckon it's the best 3-day carnival in Australia, purely and simply because of the jumps racing factor. I went up to Swan Hill on the weekend. They had the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. Totally different feel without the jumps, but it was still a success. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess the question is there still a market for 3-day carnivals? Even 2-day carnivals, we've seen so many go by the wayside, Matty, and I think of places that had successful carnivals. Mount Gambier was one. It was only a couple of day carnival, but it was one. Ballarat used to be a 2-day carnival. Mildura, it's gone by the wayside, whereas Swan Hill has sort of strengthened.
I reckon it's those ones, though, I reckon it's the ones with a bit of character and a bit of history, like Swan Hill. There was a lot of people that have been coming up there for kind of 20 or 30 years, a little bit like the Bull. They're unique, aren't they? And I think that's where they're at. That's the history. That's where people want to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just, Matty, and you're fresh off, I think Warrnambool, it's a point of difference with the jumps. And I've often said if it wasn't for the jumping, it wouldn't be a 3-day carnival. It would probably diminish back to maybe a couple. But in your mind, you've come just off Swan Hill. Is there still strength there? Like the middle day, for example, which doesn't hold any of the features, etc. Obviously, it coincides with Melbourne in terms of being able to get to the races and have a bet, etc. But outside the Friday or the Sunday, is there still? Do you still think there's grounds and still getting crowds enough on the Saturday, etc., for it to continue?
Yeah, do you know what, Oz? I reckon the crowd from Friday to Saturday wasn't much difference, to be honest. So there was a lot of people and a lot of buzz in town, and we saw a horse called Torregine that won a race on Saturday. The prize money obviously wasn't as good as it was on the Friday and the Sunday, but I think there is. I really do. Obviously we went there on the Saturday with the purpose of punting in Melbourne and Eagle Farm and the Stradbroke and all that kind of stuff. So I think that can work, and I think about the characters, mate, like the Aussie Coffee Bonfire. I'd heard so much about it, Eyes, and, it's only 200 metres kind of past the horse stalls, if you know what I mean. Like they've got a brand new setup there.
And you've got to say, a lot of those interviews and things coming through, Matty, they highlighted that. And a bloke like me who loves his racing and his grassroots racing was thinking, gee, it'd be good to sit around that bonfire one day. You know what I mean? Like it just might be enough to get you there. And I think if what we've got to also remember is that it's a successful 3 days because all of these people travel for the weekend. And if you made it just Friday, Sunday, for example, and skip the middle day, do we get the same sort of crowd supporting the whole weekend? Because people might go on the Friday, go home, or just go for the Cup on the Sunday. I think it's important that for the fabric that we do keep the 3 days together.
Oh, I definitely. I think definitely. And you're right about those characters. Jack Coffey, I met Ostie's brother for the first time. Johnny Hickmont, he's an absolute legend. Quinny Scott. Lindsay Smith was in his element up there.
Well, it would have been Lindsay's cup of tea.
It was absolutely. Even walking around with the old heated jacket on, mate.
Well, I know because Lindsay's very much was big for the Warrnambool Carnival, but he's come off Kalgoorlie carnivals and carnivals like that. Another one I think of is Grafton, where they have a successful, even to a little bit bigger degree, of course, Darwin, but where you can go and enjoy the carnival atmosphere. But the old 3 days, though, it's a thing that is dying. And I'm glad you're with me, because I reckon there's still a place for it.
Absolutely, mate. No, I'm 100% with you. I reckon the history and that's just it's got to stay. So
but it's the ones with fabric that
the fabric. That's exactly right.
Yep, beautiful.
Hey, listen, mate. Let's have a look at this weekend's feature race. It's different, of course. Racing in Queensland goes to Ipswich for the Ipswich Cup, of course, and all thanks to Palmer Bet, the odds and the prices this weekend. So Bartholomew Dice at $4 from the Kieran Maher David Eustace stable. Our Intrigue at $4.80. Street Dancer at $7. Birdie Beck at $9. Swords Drawn at $10. Youngblood at $12. And Ballistic Boy at $13. What are your thoughts on the Ipswich Cup? It's fairly open affair, isn't it, Ice?
Yeah, it is pretty open. I'm with Our Intrigue, the Chris Waller runner, Matty. He's been close up in his last 3 runs at Eagle Farm. Good stats in this distance range. He'll again park up near the front. And just anything that Chris Waller puts his runners into over this sort of trip are pretty hard to beat. I just reckon he'll take some holding out here, because he's going to get the right run up the front. So he's the one I settled on. I thought interesting runner, and we've spoken about this being an anomaly in the past, but Burberdeck comes off a handy run in the Lord Mayor's Cup, but he's a dual nomination. So I know we're going to have a look at the McKellar Cup in Rosehill as well a little bit later, Matty, but this is another frustration. Here he is with his name against both. Where's he going to go?
Yeah.
Eagle Farm, Ipswich to me probably looks an easier assignment, so I'm expecting he might be seen there. The good track's the key to his hopes, but I reckon he's a live chance as well.
Currently sitting on a soft 5 too, as we go to air, but you'd expect it's going to dry out in some way, shape, or form.
And I reckon for him, it's the drier the better. And then there's other chances though. Bartholomew Dice has been terrific, and you spoke about Annabelle Neesham, who's flying, and Street Dance is another one in good form. But I ended up coming back to Our Intrigue for Chris Waller, 5, 1, 3, and 8 for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm Street Dancer actually. I was at a nice little each way price, about $7 or $8. Coming off a nice little win last start at Doomben. I thought really ran through the line nice, and a horse with plenty of upside and a little bit of ability to kind of, buy Pride of Dubai. It's 4 from 15, just a horse on the up, a horse on the rise, and I thought that was the way I was going to go there, mate. So that's my thoughts on the Ipswich Cup. Let's move along now and have a look at the WJ McKell Cup. This is Rosehill race number 7 on Saturday. Surf Dancer at $3.40, only a small field. Skyman at $4.40, Dr. Drill at $4.60, U Spirit $5.50, Welsh Legend $12, and Spirit Ridge at $17. Now it's a small field, tricky little race, Eyes. I must admit, I like something at a price. You might laugh at me here.
I probably will.
And I just change of trainer, and I like this trainer, Matty Smith. First up, Southern France. This horse, they've always had a little bit of a spruik on. I just don't think it's a really strong race.
No.
And I just thought
his best form, certainly he could feature.
Absolutely. And I just reckon just that change of environment at $61, you're getting $10 just to run a drum. I just thought, why not throw the stumps?
No, Matty, that's fair. I understand that because he's got a bit of class. I thought I found the winner here, actually.
Hey, this is what we like.
No, Skyman. That man, Willie Pike, jumps on. His stats in this distance range are really good, but he gets in here, Matty, with 53 kilos.
Was great last start. Flew through the line.
That's right. He's had a run this way of going, more importantly. That was his first way, the Sydney way, 2 weeks ago. Drier track is his go. Yep. Mate, I reckon he's the one with 53. Seriously, I reckon Skyman's going to take a power beating here.
Yeah.
I thought Dr. Drill was terrific, making up a heap of ground for a second there in the Scone Cup, and his third run in now as well. Youth Dancer, interesting runner, first Aussie run for Gay, and it's trialled really well. And likewise, Surf Dancer, hard fit. It will go to the front. So those two are going to take, I'd imagine, also Youth Spirit might pretty much go forward because it won a 1,200-metre trial, Matty. So But Skyman for me, I reckon if they set the genuine tempo, going to suit him as well. So I'm with him and Willie Pike, mate.
Yeah, you love Willie, mate. I know you do, and he's an absolute ripper. He's in good nick at the moment. Well, I'm going to go Southern France each way.
Hopefully you're getting the price.
Hopefully we don't get too many scratchings and we still get the 3 place dividends, guys. That'll be the key to that.
For sure.
Hey, so listen, let's get Flemington now.
We will, but I reckon we should talk about something else. Yeah. Something that is close to us because it happened only very recently, and that's Nature Strip, mate.
Oh, absolutely, mate.
The Kingston Stakes absolutely proved himself to be the quickest horse in the world.
But do you know what, always, and we probably varied a little bit in regards to this, but like I've always thought our sprinters, like, staying in that total different kettle of fish over there, like you're coming up against class, that's the breeding, all that kind of stuff. But I just reckon sprinting, I reckon we've got links on them, and I expect the other Aussies to perform exactly the same.
Yeah. Look, and what you got to understand, and I don't think Nature Strip will run on Saturday night or Sunday morning. No. But Home Affairs, even though Nature Strip was unlucky last time, Home Affairs did beat Nature Strip first up in the spring. So you've got to respect that. Home Affairs will start favourite now, and they'll be.
Well, it gives you a little bit more confidence that that obviously the horse have both travelled over there well. I think,
and he's probably the younger up-and-coming one too, isn't he?
Well, Digger Dooley and James Safaris, of course, they've been over there covering it all on racing.com, and the word out was that, both horses are going sensationally well. So,
and you'd have a gauge on him, wouldn't you, because of Nature Strip? But he's just such an interesting horse. I remember back to many moons ago, because he's changed hands a few times, but I remember a conversation with Darren Weir who said, this is the fastest horse I've ever had. And because we know he had some talent at horses, Weary, and I remember pricking the ears up then. He had his share of problems. When I say that, he used to over race and overdo it a bit and all of that. But and he changed hands so often, didn't he? Because he started out his career with Robert Smurd, and he finished up. He went to Robert Hickmont, Johnny Sadler, Weary, and then he's finished up. And really, he's become the furnished product with Waller. Now, whether that's purely maturity or whether that's the Chris Waller polish, it's probably a combination of both. But gee whiz, he give nothing else a chance, did he? He just blew him away, and it was. And I know, speaking through your pocket, you did okay out of it too.
No, absolutely. I couldn't believe the price in the end, to be honest.
Yeah, so well done to the Aussies. And Matty, that was actually the first time in 10 years. It was 2012 since Black Caviar. So the first Aussie horse to win in the UK for 10 years.
I can remember that night too. I reckon we might have been drinking together, mate, at the Whalers Hotel, of course, the famous pub in the Bull, mate.
And there was dead silence when there was a photo. I remember that.
Dead silence. And I had the band teed up to go straight into Land Down Under. And there was a little bit of a hush over the crowd. Then as soon as the numbers were posted, Semaphore, she was on like Donkey Kong. We had about 800 in the venue that night. And it was one hell of a
crowd
party.
Surfing and everything.
Sensational. Hey, listen, come on, give us your best. Then we're going to go to Flemington, mate, because we always like a big tip.
Yep.
I must admit, I'm keen as mustard on one. But I want to let you go first.
Well, I did get one home last week, and then DeGraves was scratched. So by default, it was 100%. But Matty, I'm keen on a couple again. Yep. I thought both of Nick Ryan's sprinters would win. I thought race 2 in a benchmark 78, Grand Pope. He's drawn 11, which is absolutely perfect for him.
Yep.
We saw him draw wide and come home over the top of As I'd Please there 2 or 3 runs back. And I can't get that out of me brain, and he just brained him that day.
Yeah,
I reckon he can win race 2. And then if you can hold on to your dough or throw it into Express Pass in the last, similar circumstances, 1,100 metres, drawn 9. I reckon that'll be the place to be, just out wide there at Flemington. And I thought they could both just about get the job done. I reckon I know where you're going to go, and I think it's a ripping race too, just quietly.
Well, I'm going to go to the David Burke. So is that where you're thinking I'm going? And I'm going to stick with Sir Davy. I reckon this horse is a winning machine. And to be honest,
you keep getting a better price.
I know. And honestly, the race is like, I can't see it. Like Visnari is obviously a nice horse. Tuvalu, I've got a query at the 1600. We've had that discussion.
D'Aguila will be the other one, I guess.
D'Aguila is the other one. It is a cracking race, but I just like what Sir Davy's done, and track conditions soft,
Yep.
dry. It seems to it's just a good horse. With
Yeah,
a
no, I
good turn
agree.
of foot.
No, I agree. And he keeps winning.
Yeah.
But again, like last time, he went up at about 460 and he's out to 550 already. So you're going to get a bit of a price. The other thing about
Paddy
him,
Payne and Aguila, I must say, we both like it when he takes him for a trial. So one first up at Caulfield, he's taking it for a little bit of a jump out at Tatura.
Yeah.
Always a good sign, I reckon.
oh,
Keeps that
absolutely,
fitness into him.
because there was some talk about him going to a Swan Hill Cup as
Yep.
well, and he hasn't. He's just waited
Yep.
for this race. So, and that stable is absolutely flying. But Sir Davy, and you look right through the form, Matty. It beat Visionary last start, of course. Visionary shorter in the market.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, and this one meets it a kilo better at the weights
Yeah.
than last time out. So, yeah, if you like Sir Davy, just keep backing it.
To be honest, I'm gonna stick my neck on the line here, right? We might not ever be back on, but I'm gonna say Sir Davy or De Guila, one of them will get the job done on Saturday.
Well, you can back both and win.
Yeah,
There's
so
nothing
there you go.
wrong with
That's
that.
right. No, exactly.
And watch Tuvalu knock us off when we've been on before,
Yeah, I know.
Matty.
Don't even talk about it. Hey, a little bit of VUIs. You might laugh at me here, but this horse on the quick backup, okay, from the Simon Wild Yard, if it runs, got a good barrier 2, Romany Rocks, race 7, number 13, $26.
Well, it's just nice and fit now, Matty. And I know
home.
I know the stable's always had an opinion. It's going to knock one of these races off, Romany Rocks.
Yeah.
And I did take particular notice of that one. And I thought Cirilio Miss from the same yard could possibly bounce back here too.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, what's your best bet back at Ipswich, Eyes?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go to. Can I go to the McKell Cup instead? Because I thought Ipswich was a little bit difficult, to be honest.
That's all right.
But I want to stick with Skyman with 53 kilos and Willie Pike.
Righto, beautiful, mate. I'm going to go back to Ipswich, okay, for my best bet up there, and it's going to be race 5, number 2, a horse called Skins. It was enormous first up, second up, 3 from 3. That'll do me. All right, it's about $5.50. Might even get $6. The boys at Palmerbet might even just wind it out a little bit if you mention this Bolton in little podcast, Eyes.
And let's not forget, Matty, you picked the Topaz winner last week too, and told everyone to back it if the podcast was out in time, and it was. And it was a reasonable price.
So, mate, honestly, hopefully they've launched, and I'm telling you, that is a serious racehorse.
Nice horse, yeah, because it was a good race too,
mate. My only concern is, and I did say this to Uncle Linz after the race. I had a couple of beers with him, and I did say, "How are we going to keep in the boat and triple missile apart?" And he said, "Don't worry, I've got a plan, son."
Yeah, so, well, before you go though, what do you think happens with Nature Strip now, Matty?
Come back, and obviously Everest would be the target again, wouldn't it, just for the prize money?
Well, obviously they've got to stick to weight for age or set weight and penalty. So I just thought that a similar preparation to last time, the Lightning into the shorts, into the Everest. And would that nearly be a swan song? Maybe. I don't want to retire him when he's going like he is, but I'm saying, I would have thought maybe target those 3 again and
what a 3 to
go target. Again. And he's hard to beat in any. And people with Eduardo would be thinking, we've got a decent sprinter here from a world point of view because they were neck and neck last year, weren't they?
Yeah, my oath. Yeah, they'd be eyeing off maybe a trip, you would imagine. So you just never know, do you? No, fantastic. And as we always say, guys, gamble responsibly. We must thank the team at Palmerbet. They are sensational. And as I said, their app is just so easy to download. Get involved. It's going to be another big weekend of winter racing, of course, from Queensland. We've got wonderful racing at Rosehill. And then, of course, Flemington always puts up at this time of the year some magnificent races. So fingers crossed we can get a winner, mate.
We're going to do our best, Matty. All the best.
Great stuff. And we'll see you hopefully next week on Bolton In.